Part 8. The Modern Valkyrie. Not gone, not forgotten, only risen higher. When the world needs fire, she answers. Chapter 1. The Silent Descent. The wind howled over the fjords, sharp as judgment. Below, a warband of mortals screamed in terror, outnumbered, overwhelmed, and already bleeding into the snow. They were brave, but not enough. Not for this. And then, the air shifted. The sky did not split. The heavens did not sing. But the frost retreated, and a hush fell, deep and primal. She landed without sound, boots against stone, wings folding with a soft rustle, not summoned, not sent. Chosen. The young chieftain blinked through blood and ash. He had prayed to Odin. He had begged Freya. But when he looked up, it was her. The golden-haired Valkyrie, the hammer, the blue eyes that saw through steel. Astrid Ironsong. She didn't speak. She simply moved. Her hammer, Himmensglad, shimmered like morning fire. Draugr fell where she passed, burst apart with each strike, and when the tide of death finally broke against her will, she turned to the mortals, not with a command, not with divine light, just a nod. Later, by the ruined hall, the chieftain found the courage to ask, "Why, me?" Astrid looked down at him. "Because you stood your ground, even when no one came." He swallowed, tears burning. "But others pray to the gods. To you." She knelt before him quietly. "I am not their god. But I come for those who burn, even when the world offers them cold." Then she stood, and with a gust of wind, she vanished into the sky once more. Across the realms, stories whispered like embers caught on the wind. She doesn't answer every prayer. Only the ones with fire inside them. The world still spoke her name in reverence. But Astrid Ironsong? She only descended for the worthy. Chapter 2. Echoes in the Halls. There was a shrine built on the edge of nowhere. No god claimed it. No priest anointed it. It had no name carved above its gate, only a hammer painted in gold and a pair of outstretched wings etched beneath the eaves. The villagers didn't speak of its origin, but they kept it clean. Left offerings, lit candles on storm-heavy nights, and when the wind blew just right, the flames would lean toward the mountains, as if listening. More shrines followed. In the highlands, they built one into a cliffside and left old armor beneath its arch. In the north, a bard carved her likeness into a mead hall beam, blonde hair sweeping across her shoulders, blue eyes fierce beneath a sky of fire. The gods were not angry, but they watched. Freya stood beneath an ancient tree, her arms folded. At her side, a younger Valkyrie hesitated. "They're calling her a goddess." Freya's gaze didn't waver. "She never claimed divinity." "But they believe in her more than us." A pause, then quietly, "As they should." In the halls of the Chosen, warriors once toasted only Odin. Now they sang her name in the same breath. "Raise your horns and toast her might. Queen of war and endless fight." Astrid heard none of it. She was elsewhere, watching, walking, wondering. One night, she came across a temple lit by moonlight. Inside knelt a girl, barely old enough to wield a blade. She was weeping, clutching a broken wooden spear. Astrid stood unseen in the doorway, her wings folded. Then she stepped forward. She didn't speak. She didn't heal. She simply placed something in the girl's hand. A stone rune, etched with one word, rise. The girl looked up, eyes wide, breath caught, but the doorway was already empty. Just wind and moonlight, and hope. Astrid did not need shrines, but she honored the faith behind them. Because in every offering, every whispered name, someone, somewhere, still believed in her fire. Chapter 3. Horns Raised High. With steel and song I carve my name. The hall was packed, not with gods, not with kings, with warriors, Valkyries, shield maidens, mortals who had stood against the tide and still bore the scars. They weren't here to kneel. They were here to sing. The stage was built from shattered spears and reclaimed shields. Above it, the banners of 100 battles hung like memories sewn into wind. In the center stood Astrid, not in armor, but in leather and light, her hammer slung across her back like a sacred cord waiting to strike. Scarlet grinned beside her, axe polished, hair wild. Luna tested her flute, eyes closed, already hearing the beat. Eularia ran one last check on the rigging, her golden wings casting long shadows. And Ayla? She sat behind the drums, tapping out the rhythm that made hearts race. Astrid stepped forward, and the crowd leaned in. "This one's not for the gods," she said. "It's for the ones who stood when no one else would." The first beat hit like thunder. Scarlet's axe guitar howled like a storm as Eularia's voice wove beneath Astrid's roar. "Horns raised high, let the battle roar. Drink deep, strike hard, let the steel be sworn." She roared. The hall shook. Fists rose. Voices joined in. Warriors who once followed her into death now followed her into song. It was more than a performance. It was a summons. Hell watched from a high-shadowed balcony, unseen by most. Astrid saw her. Just once. She smiled, blew her a kiss, a wink, meant for no one else, and turned back to the storm of cheers. "So drink, my friends, and raise them high. We ride as one beneath the sky." And in that moment, there was no war, no realm, no death, just fire and music and iron song. Chapter 4. The One She Sees. Hell did not come through the front gate. She arrived with the mist. Silent, unannounced, unseen by most. Her cloak of shadow swept behind her like a tide. Half her face hidden by a hood, the other bone-pale and radiant in the lantern glow. She did not belong here, not in a hall filled with song and thunder. But still, she came. The performance was already in full swing. Drums pounding, mead horns raised, Valkyries howling with joy. The band lit the stage like wildfire given form. And in the center of it all, Astrid. Blonde hair whipping with every beat. Blue eyes like burning frost. Hammer strapped to her back, her voice lifting the roof itself. Hell stood in the shadows, hands clasped before her, watching the way mortals leaned forward, lips parted in awe. The way their eyes followed Astrid, not like a performer, like a force of nature. Scarlet's axe guitar spun into a furious solo. Luna's flute spiraled behind it like wind through a canyon. Eularia's voice rose beneath the chorus, precise and soaring. Ayla's rhythm kept the world turning. But Hell saw only one. Astrid turned, hair catching the stage lights. Her eyes scanned the crowd, then stopped. High above, far in the back, where shadows pooled and mortals could not see. Hell. Astrid didn't falter, didn't break rhythm, but her expression softened. Just for a moment. She raised her hand, and with a quiet, subtle grace, she blew a kiss, a wink, small, secret, a gesture meant for no one else. Hell's breath caught in her throat. She said nothing, but her hand drifted, almost of its own will, to her chest, where, long ago, a flame had been sparked, and never once gone out. When the final chord struck and the thunder faded, Hell was already gone. But where she stood, the mist lingered, warmer than before. Chapter 5. When Wings Cast Light. She is not gone, she is rising. The morning after the performance, the hall lay quiet. Cups overturned, ash cooling in the hearth, instruments still humming with ghost notes from the night before. But Astrid was already walking. She moved through the valley alone, boots pressing deep into thawing soil, not escaping, just thinking. Above her, gulls wheeled. Below, the river sang. She stopped by the edge of a cliff and watched the clouds pass. Not as a soldier, not as a symbol. Just Astrid. A small voice broke the silence. "Are you a goddess now?" Astrid turned. A child stood there, no more than 9 winters, wide-eyed, holding a toy spear carved from driftwood. She smiled. Kneeling, she met the girl's gaze. "No," Astrid said, then gently touched the child's chest, just over the heart. "But I am something more than fire." Stories had begun to travel faster than ravens, not of a goddess, but of a presence. A Valkyrie who answered only when the soul was worthy. Of shrines with no names, of songs written not in runes, but in rhythm. And always, always. Of wings in the sky where none had flown. Astrid returned to the others by twilight. Scarlet and Ayla were already practicing a new riff. Luna played quietly under her breath. Eularia adjusted bowstrings, but her eyes flicked up when Astrid arrived. No words were needed. The circle was whole. That night, as stars sparked across the velvet dark, Astrid leaned back against a fallen log and stared into the heavens. The flame still burned in her, but it no longer needed to consume. It could guide. Not the end, not even close. The circle of wings had only just begun. And with steel and song, their legend would echo through every hall, every battlefield, every soul ready to rise. The modern Valkyrie does not wait to be remembered. She picks up the torch and lights the way forward. Chapter 6. The Valkyrie's Voice. The hall had long since emptied. The thunder of the crowd, the crashing songs, the dancing flames, all faded now. Astrid stood in the doorway, wings folded gently behind her. Her armor gleamed not with power, but with peace. She was about to leave, until she saw them. 3 children sat near the stage, quiet, as if waiting for something they couldn't name. The youngest, a boy, no more than 10 winters, gripped a wooden hammer in both hands, painted gold along the handle. His eyes shone with mischief and wonder. Beside him, a girl, 12 and serious, traced runes into the dirt with a stick. Her gaze was sharp. Her back was straight. She watched Astrid like one warrior studies another. Behind them stood an older boy, tall and broad, already carrying the shape of a bear. His arms were crossed, but his jaw clenched, like he wanted to believe in something again. They didn't speak. They just looked at her. And Astrid? She smiled. Her eyes stung. She didn't hide the tears. She knelt down, slowly, carefully, like her every motion carried a promise. And she whispered, "This world, it's yours now." The boy with the hammer stepped forward. The girl stood beside him. The eldest finally nodded, once. Astrid placed her hand over her heart. Then she stood, spread her wings, and rose, slowly, into the light. Not the end, the beginning. A legend not left behind, but passed on.
For J, L, and B. When the world grows quiet and you're not sure who you are, remember this: you are brave. You are worthy. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. And you are loved more fiercely than any myth could hold. The fire lives in you now. Carry it well. Your dad.